Welcome to the latest episode of My Dialysis Life. This is the What to Wear episode. This is where you will learn to think differently about what you wear when receiving in-center hemodialysis. Access, comfort, and consistency will be the key considerations discussed here today. I'll briefly share what I have seen and one thing I have never seen. Like me, you may wish to choose items to wear that express your personal style. I'll have a couple of easy, high-impact suggestions for that. So, before we get going with that, please subscribe. It helps me know how much impact my efforts might be having. Also, please like, if appropriate. Comments are very much welcome. Here is my standard admonition. Please make no medical decisions based on what is narrated here. Discuss all changes and observations with your care team. My kidney disease is unique, possibly one of a kind, and my treatment is almost certainly going to be different to yours. So, here we are. What are the main considerations about what you wear? First, it must be in support of treatment. The reason for dialysis treatment is twofold. The objectives are to remove toxins from the bloodstream and to reduce the strain placed by retained fluid on your kidneys and your heart and lungs. The how of dialysis is in accessing your venous system, either by catheter or by fistula. By the way, I now have both as I'm in transition from catheter to fistula. In fact, I've been primarily on fistula now, that is needles, rather than the ports here on my chest, for 5-6 treatments now continuously. That's promising to be an excellent lifestyle improvement for me and perhaps even a general improvement in how I feel overall. Been a little bit more invigorated of late. Maybe I can blame it on dialysis. Regarding catheters, catheter ports are most frequently installed on the chest, below the collarbone on the side opposite your heart. 2 capped tubes are exposed under the bandages to which the dialyzer is attached. I have just realized that bra straps or the like could lie across the exit site. You can't let that happen. Similarly, beware of automotive seat belts. If the seat belt lies against any part of the catheter or its bandaging, take steps to pad that area. Try wrapping a hand towel, for instance, around the seat belt to remove pressure and minimize or redistribute any rubbing that might happen. Catheters are used when treatment is urgently needed. You can't use a new fistula for 6 to 8 weeks or more. The test catheter was ready for use within 2 hours after the surgical installation. Following is a series of garments illustrating their likely success for catheter dialysis. The first item we will discuss for its suitability for catheter-based hemodialysis is the turtleneck. Turtleneck is not going to work out. Catheter is over here. Turtleneck is up here. Will not stretch down that well. The solution will probably look something like this. I'll overwrite a graphic right here. So, no turtlenecks. They will come to a poor ending. The next part of our ensemble is the mock turtle. About the same as a t-shirt, except that it has these long sleeves on them, so it might be better in wintertime overall, but again, the issue is, can you get to the catheter from there? In this case, you barely can. You could probably flip it out, but it might be uncomfortable, and you may find that the solution, again, looks like that. So, again, I would discourage mock turtles, but There's a close solution that's near at hand, and I'll be back with it in a moment. The third in our list of garments is the placket shirt. I think some people have taken this garment and renamed it a Henley, but for many decades before I ever heard of a Henley, but I was buying and wearing placket shirts. The advantage of this is it unbuttons to enough of a degree that you can pop out the parts of the catheter necessary for hemodialysis. So this is probably a win, but not the best suited yet because of having some impeded access to this. So let me show you another solution. Gee, this looks better than I expected. This is what I wore for hemodialysis on my second day of treatment. It was still in hospital, but I was outpatient to the hospital for hemodialysis. This is a shirt I used to use for painting, but it also seemed to be suitable for having a small modification made so that I can access the hemodialysis port. So simply done, take scissors, cut across, come back along the shoulder, flip it open when needed, close it up when you're done, maybe with a safety pin if you really are worried about modesty issues or comfort issues with that. So this did me well for several treatments while I waited for the next garment to arrive from Amazon.com. Be right back. So here I am back wearing my final garment for the demonstration purposes. This is what I'm calling a purpose-made chest access shirt or a chest access surgery shirt. Its main feature is that on either side, wherever you might happen to have your catheter, there's a series of snaps along the top here. Listen to this lovely sound. And it immediately reveals the catheters, leaves it sitting open so they can not only connect you up for hemodialysis, but also usually on a weekly basis, they'll replace the entire bandage over the port in your chest, make sure it's well sterilized and sanitized and scritched a little bit if you're itchy there, and then closed up for a week to come. This shirt is nice because it looks like just a shirt with a chevron across the shoulders rather than looking like some kind of hospital garment. So this is my usual shirt of choice, although now that I'm primarily getting the hemodialysis through the fistula that's being developed in this arm, I have used this far less of late. But I have access to the one on my wrist fistula is quite simple with either a t-shirt or with pulling up the sleeve on this surgical shirt. There is a reason for wearing a shirt like this, even when you've started fistula dialysis, and that is that as it's developing, you may find that they'll only be able to use one needle at a time, and therefore will be required to use one or more of one of the other ports here in your chest to finish out your treatment. That happened for me over a period of about a week, and now the fistula has been the primary way I'm treated, but this is still in for the duration until this is entirely proven out and everybody gives its blessing. This is the entire care team, so I'm in no rush. When they're satisfied, I'll be satisfied. Fistulas, or fistulae, are created in the arm, usually, and usually it's the non-dominant arm. I chose otherwise after discussion with my surgeon. He took it into consideration and accommodated me. Consider loose sleeve shirts or short sleeve shirts, or in some cases sleeveless shirts to meet this need. Generalizing, a fistula will be in either the upper or the lower arm. So the guidelines for what you wear are fairly simple. Consistency in wear is meaningful when planning each treatment. You get weighed at each treatment, and what is considered your dry weight is included with your clothing. And consistency in wear is meaningful when planning each treatment. You get weighed at each treatment, and what is considered your dry weight includes clothing. Heavier than usual clothing could cause the fluid reduction goal to be set too high. For me, that means cramping. For others, it can mean nausea. I think that I am more sensitive to this variation than most dialysis patients, but I do note that clothing is part of this calculation. Comfort is the second principle. Dialysis treatment has you tethered to a dialyzer for up to 4 hours, usually in the same position throughout. With a fistula, you cannot move the associated arm. So, try out your outfit at home somewhere where you can be comfortable and see what comfort issues come up within, say, an hour's time. You'll want to avoid items in your pockets, particularly ones that you may be sitting on. After 4 hours, it can make quite an impression. The third guideline is feedback. It's what you hear back from the technicians and nurses. If you make it easier for them to treat you, they will notice. I find that rewarding. My experience with dialysis technicians and nurses is that they are problem solvers. Let the problems they solve focus on treatment, not on access. Your body temperature is likely to drop during treatment. I will request blankets about 2 hours in. The blankets, preheated, cover me from ankles to shoulders. Any excellent choices I've made in garments that are then lost for the duration. Disadvantaged by the reclining posture, the remaining distinguishing features you have are your head and your feet. So, you can distinguish yourself by choosing distinctive headwear and footwear. If your in-center clinic is anything like mine, the nurse, techs, and other staff all wear gowns and masks. I often observe that many colorful or distinctly patterned shoes show their owner's flair, if you will, as no other way they can. I've seen a variety of outfits worn to the center that suit the owner as well as the access needs for dialysis. Pajamas happen. Some patients are brought in from rehab wearing their hospital johnny. One man came in wearing his work clothes from his painting gig. Sweatpants are popular, but you also can see shorts and cargo pants. And in Vermont, you'll see those year-round. The one category I have not seen is skirts, dresses, and kilts. Kind of doubtful I'll be seeing them too, but life is short. Never say never. So far. So, thank you for listening to this episode. I'll be back shortly with a new one. And again, if you get any comments, emails, suggestions, and be well.